Based on proximity to our Sun and going from closest to furthest, the first terrestrial planet in our solar system is Mercury. Not only is it the first planet from the Sun, but it is also the smallest planet. It takes only 88 days to go around the Sun. It has a temperature of 800 degrees Fahrenheit during the day, but goes all the way down to negative 275 degrees Fahrenheit at night. It doesn't have an atmosphere to trap the heat, like Earth, which has the troposphere and stratosphere where greenhouse gases work to keep the surface warm. Mercury, not having an atmosphere, prevents it from being shielded from incoming meteorites. It also has frozen ice at poles which don't melt because they're at the bottom of the craters, which is blocked from light. We can use the number of craters on a planet to determine how old its surface is. The more craters a planet has, the older its surface is. Moving on to the second terrestrial planet from the Sun is Venus. Venus is considered Earth's sister planet because it's almost as big as Earth. You could almost mistake it for a gas planet because you can't see the surface. It's totally covered with clouds. Venus is different from other planets because it rotates counterclockwise. This is called a retrograde rotation. A possible reason for this counterclockwise rotation could be a collision in the past with an asteroid that caused the planet to alter its rotational path. Venus also has no moons, which makes it a little bit different from the rest of the planets. It takes Venus 225 days to go around the Sun, so not quite as long as Earth, but not as short as Mercury either. It has a temperature of 880 degrees Fahrenheit, which is hotter than Mercury even though it's farther from the Sun. This is due to it having an atmosphere with carbon dioxide, the greenhouse gas that traps light and energy and heat from the Sun, basically creating a giant sauna. And due to all these highly reflective clouds in the atmosphere, Venus appears very bright to us. Venus is the second brightest object in our night sky, only our moon is brighter. And sometimes Venus gets so bright that you can see it during the daytime on a clear day. If you were to take away Venus's atmosphere, you could see that its surface is very smooth, while it still has many geological features such as canyons, volcanoes, lava flows, rift valleys, mountains, craters, and plains. There is substantial evidence for local tectonic activity, but the surface appears to be a single crustal plate, and it has no tectonic plates like Earth does. Moving on to the third planet from the Sun is our home, Earth, and it is about 93 million miles away from the Sun. It is the largest of the terrestrial planets, and it was formed with our solar system approximately 4.5 billion years ago, and is the only known planet to support life. This is really quite an amazing feat because a lot of things needed to be perfected for this to happen. For instance, the distance from the Sun. We couldn't be too close because then we'd be too hot. We couldn't be too far away because then we'd be too cold. We need a perfect atmosphere of nitrogen, oxygen, and just a little bit of carbon dioxide, and most importantly, water. Almost all living organisms need water to survive, and thankfully, Earth is 75% water. Once upon a time, people believed that the Earth was the center of the universe. Due to the apparent movements of the Sun and planets in relation to their viewpoint, ancient scientists insisted that the Earth remained static, while other celestial bodies traveled in circular orbits around it. Eventually, the view that the Sun was at the center of the universe was postulated by Copernicus, though this is also not the case. We now know that there are so many billions of other galaxies out there that our Sun could not simply be the center of the entire universe. This image of Earth at nighttime over the continent of Europe shows all the pretty lights, and those lights are cities or places that humans live. This picture is special because it shows you where astronomers like to work. Astronomers don't like to use telescopes to look at stars when they are in the big cities with all the lights. That's because when you're surrounded by so many lights, it's hard to see the stars due to light pollution. It's much easier to see the stars when you're out in the country. So astronomers fix this problem by taking pictures of the universe in dark places, such as Greenland, and sometimes they even put their cameras out in space on satellites to get clearer pictures. Moving on to the fourth terrestrial planet from the Sun is Mars. One day on Mars is 24 hours and 39 minutes, which is just slightly longer than one day on Earth. However, it takes 1.9 years for Mars to go around the Sun just one time. The temperature is a little colder than Earth, but that's because it is further from the Sun. Mars experiences summer days as high as 70 degrees Fahrenheit and winter nights as low as negative 225 degrees Fahrenheit. Mars has wind and clouds and a thin atmosphere. NASA has confirmed there was once water on Mars. It was believed to once have flowing water, which is now frozen under the surface. There is evidence of lakes and rivers on the surface. And once upon a time, Mars had a molten lava core just like Earth, and therefore it had a magnetic field. However, this is no longer. Mars has two very distinct geological landmarks, and they are the Valles Marineris and the Olympus Mons. The Valles Marineris is the largest valley in our solar system. It is longer than the distance from Los Angeles, California to New York City, New York in the United States. At its widest point, it is 60 miles wide, and it runs 6 miles deep. That's the height that airplanes fly at. So if you think about the airplanes up in the sky, that's 6 miles from Earth's surface to the elevation they're at. That's how deep this valley is. The next geological landmark is the Olympus Mons. This is the largest mountain in our solar system, and it is actually a dormant volcano. It is 17 miles above the surrounding area and is 2.5 times the height of Mount Everest. The surface of Mars gets its red color from rust, or iron oxide. Mars is the next location in our solar system for humans to travel to, but that probably won't be for a long while. However, there has been some very exciting news in the space community with the recent landing of the Perseverance rover, which is part of the Mars 2020 mission. The rover was launched on July 30th, 2020, and landed on February 18th, 2021, in the Jezero crater, which is 49 kilometers or 30 miles wide. The main job of this rover is to seek for signs of ancient life and collect samples of rock and regolith, which is broken rock and soil, for possible return to Earth. That concludes the terrestrial planets. However, there are 4 other planets in our solar system, and those are known as the gas giants. They include, in order from the Sun, Jupiter, Saturn, Uranus, and Neptune. However, those planets will not be discussed in this video. All the information provided in this video came from the collaboration of student workers in the Heikamp Planetarium at Loras College under the direction of Kenneth McLaughlin over the years. Thank you for watching.